Hi, I'm Gretchen,
And I'm Becca.
and we're two curious ladies on an adventure to learn more about cooking, cannabis.
And the fine art of gluttony. Join us every 10 days or so as we get high and make our way through a recipe.
Step inside and let the consumption begin. Oh, yeah, recording is in progress. Hello, Becca. How are you today?
I'm so fantastic because this is a burger day. This is going to be so much fun.
We're going all in on the burgers. I get to make meat burgers. You're making veggie burgers. We're burgering it up. And we will get to Kenji's top 10 tips for better burgers, one of which includes keeping it cold. So we are about to put our burgers in the fridge so they have a little bit of time to hang out and rest and be ready to be cooked in a little while. So let's go ahead and get our burgers in the fridge, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
And into rest. And we are drinking something super fun and exciting today, although I don't have it garnished to the hilt like the article recommended. But we're doing a Pimm's cup, so let's pour our Pimm's cups into our prepared glasses.
Okay, they're so pretty.
I know.
This mixture, we'll talk through everything that's in these, but these have been chilling in the refrigerator for about 10-15 minutes now.
Oh, and I made one perfect, beautiful portion.
Nice job. Okay, let's taste. Delicious.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's really good. So let's go sit down and chat and enjoy and talk to our gluttoniers about what is in these drinks.
Yeah, and in these burgers.
In everything. Yeah.
A whole
so much
shebang.
to talk about.
We have so much to talk about, and we're going to try and talk about it in a short amount of time.
We will see.
Well, the first thing we need to talk about is what we're smoking today before we get into our burger mania here.
Exactly, because this cocktail is delicious, and so I need to take it slow. But so I need to be smoking on something in addition to the drink to set the mood here. So I used my bong. I'm doing some flour again today, no surprise, but it's called Do-Si Do by Sugar Pines. This is something brand new to me. I've never seen this strain. I've never seen this company or brand. But anyway, I'm excited to enjoy it. It's got 25% THC, 0.06% CBD, and then 12 milligrams per gram beta-caryophyllene, 5 milligrams humulene, and then 5 milligrams again per gram limonene. So I'm trying to put that milligram amount in there more often because I still don't really get what that means for the terpenes, but I don't know. I'll document it.
Yeah. And you've done more research than me as usual, because I am having Blue Dream from Pacific Zone. I have no THC information, and we're just gonna see how it goes.
But you've had this before, right?
Yes, yeah. Like I've had Blue Dream tons. Like I've grown Blue Dream, I've had Blue Dream. It's Blue Dream all the way. Trying to take it a little easy on my consumption these days because I seem to be getting high a little too high a little too often. So
oops.
Trying to keep it mellow.
That does sound nice. Blue Dream, love it.
Yes.
Well, we'll try to report back if we remember about how we're feeling as we cook after we've smoked these. But before that, what's in our cocktail? Because I've heard Pimm's Cup before, and I kind of knew what it was, but I also didn't realize how many things were in it, and that it was like not a single serve kind of a thing, or I guess it could be, but the recipe we found was not a single serve, and I didn't realize that until it was too late.
Well, it does only serve 4, so it's just using Pimm's number 1, which is a flavored gin, a little more to the sweet side of things. It's I believe it's infused with some sort of fruit, but I'd have to look at that. And then it's got sparkling lemonade, fresh squeezed lemon juice, And the recommended garnishes are cucumber, strawberry, fresh basil leaves, and a lemon slice. And so the base recipe is 2 cans of sparkling lemonade, which they suggest San Pellegrino Limonada, which is what I found today. So that is what I'm using.
Same.
And 1 cup of Tim's number 1, half a cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice, 1 cucumber, 8 strawberries, 8 fresh basil leaves torn, and 1 lemon sliced. And that makes 4 servings.
Yeah, mix it all up, put it in the, well, it does say to thinly slice the cucumber and quarter the strawberries and tear up the basil leaves. And then when you serve it, the directions said to pour it and then mix up evenly the rest of the cucumbers and strawberries and all that nonsense stuff. But we did it the reverse. We filled our glasses first and then poured it in because I did not want the whole slices of cucumber to be like swamping into my glass of liquid.
Yeah, who knows? I don't even have cucumber. I got a sprig of basil. Right. I'm drowning in blackberries right now, so I've got blackberries instead of strawberries. I do have the lemon slice, but I feel very undergarnished for the amount that they really wanted in here. 2 strawberries per cup, 2 fresh basil leaves per cup, a quarter of a cucumber per cup. I don't even know how you get a quarter of a cucumber in there.
That's what I mean.
It's outrageous.
You're plopping so much down. I didn't have Tim's either. I have Hendrick's gin. We're just doing what we want with it today. But it is tasty either way. So I'm very much enjoying it.
I lucked out because my friend Sarah has Pims at her house and I went to take care of her cats and she had Pims.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah, sponsoring the show, but indirectly.
Yeah. So tasty drink, tasty smoke. Should we get into Kenji's burger tips?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Burger tips from our fave.
We'll see how expansive we feel about the need to comment on some of these. These are tips for meat-based burgers, not veggie burgers, but I'm assuming at least some of these can apply to veggie burgers as well. But since I don't get to talk about meat on this since I do not get to talk about meat on these repisodes nearly enough, we're going to talk about some meat today. It's meat summer, damn it.
That's right. Gretchen will not be contained anymore with her meat. But I think I've been the one suggesting a lot of these meat ones too.
You have. Yeah. You've been suggesting because I was like, oh no, we're going to make another veggie burger. And then you were like, no, well, let's make 2 different kinds of burger. And I was like, oh, okay. Not a problem.
Yeah, because we should say really quick, we have done a veggie burger before. I wanted to recreate the Tejano burger from Rome in San Francisco, California area. And we did attempt to do that, but that was kind of a one-off specific burger attempt. So yeah, I wanted Gretchen to do a meat burger. I wanted all of our meat fans to get to have a classic burger experience with Gretchen. And I found a fun veggie burger too. And some of the advice overlaps, like Gretchen said. So this is fun.
So let's start with tip number 1, which neither one of us is following today. I did have a half of a mind to be completely mad and change my mind yesterday, and then realized, no, Gretchen, stop being extra. You gotta go with pre-ground meat in this instance. But Kenji recommends buying meat whole and grinding it yourself. Now, which presents a few problems, but he does have a lot of suggestions on how to get around these problems.
Yeah, meat grinder problems.
Yeah, meat grinder problems. Let's say not everybody in the world owns a meat grinder. Do I own a meat grinder? Of course I do, because I have a KitchenAid and I bought the meat grinder attachment, or I got one that had it already. I can't remember. So I've got one, and we can talk about making sausages later, because that's mostly what I've done with grinding my meat grinder so far, is made sausages, because I like making a sausage. And reasons you would want to grind your own meat kind of lead to exactly what kind of meat you're getting as that meat mixture. I'm sure Kenji has tips on which ones are the best. I've seen a lot of different types of meat used for burgers. I think the number one that I was extremely disappointed by was short rib meat that they had ground up and made into burgers because it is so fatty. It was making what I could taste from the grill was that the fat was dripping off of it and flaming. And so you get this like diesel-y flavor that sticks to the meat. So I do not recommend short ribs as a meat for this, but most other meats will work. It's pretty much whatever you feel like. Wouldn't use tenderloin necessarily. It's not the most flavorful bit, but it'll make for an extremely tender burger. So, but yeah, so you number one can tell exactly what type of meat you're getting. You can control the amount of fat in it. You can control what other additives you use. And Kenji does like the idea of grinding. If you're going to do flavorings in your burger, grinding it with the meat. So that was why I suddenly went mad yesterday and thought I might want to do that because I was like, I don't know. Can I go against Kenji and buy store-bought and then handle it too much? Because he's like, please don't. And I just couldn't bring myself to want to grind a bunch of meat and clean the meat grinder afterward. So maybe someday when I have an assistant. Yeah.
That's so much work. Before we've even started. That's so much work. Okay, so if you're inclined to, use freshly ground beef because you're in control of everything. And it probably tastes really good to have it totally fresh like that.
All right. Now, should we move on? Have we discussed that enough? I feel like we've kind of covered it.
I think so. Yeah, so fresh ground. Next.
Tip number 2, keep everything really cold. This is to help keep your fat from starting to melt out of your meat. So, like, don't handle it. Don't do anything to it. If you're grinding it yourself, put all the stuff for your meat grinder in the refrigerator or the freezer. The KitchenAid attachments don't do as well. The worm part of it that actually does the meat grinding is, I believe, made out of metal. But everything else on that is plastic, so it doesn't work as well. If you have metal parts, it's really great when you can put them in the fridge and keep them really cold and they stay cold. So advantage to metal meat grinding things. But yeah, don't warm up that fat because any amount of that fat that's coming out, you're not going to have in your burger anymore once you start to cook it. So keep your shit cold, and it also helps keep the meat in form.
Yeah, and this is one of those overlaps with the recipe I found because it suggests to refrigerate the patties for an hour after they've been formed. So we're picking up an alignment on part 2 here, or on step 2, on advice 2, number 2. Jesus Christ, what can I talk?
I guess do-si-do is not a good one for you as far as talking. I think I'm the only one. I always am the one that says I'm like, nope, I'm stoned. I can't talk anymore. Even though I do still talk, it just doesn't make any sense. And you rarely have issues with that. So this is a fun role reversal we're doing today.
Yeah. Do-si-do and in my brain.
All right. Rule number 3 is don't futz with your meat. This kind of goes along with rule number 2. The more you work the meat, the more you can change the protein structure, and that can lead to tougher meat. So today when I was mixing in my little mix-ins, I mixed them in as briefly as possible. I actually kind of mixed them all together first, then put them into the meat and just kind of really like pushed it into the meat, mixed a little bit, and done.
So don't futz, meaning one, like don't overwork it when you're forming it, but don't like add too much stuff to beef. Is it just a matter of like overworking or?
So, okay, I'm sorry. This is where the other part of my thought is because I love to put shit in my burgers. When I make them at home, and the burger I make is loosely based out of a cookbook that I don't seem to own anymore. Actually, it was a herb book / cookbook, and it had a recipe in it called herby burgers, and you put herb butter into the patties and mix it together. So I love making just adding some butter, herbs, and Worcestershire sauce. Maybe sometimes I'll add in I think today I did put a little bit of black garlic into it as well, into that mixture. Because I'm going to make a black garlic mayo to put on top, but I thought I'd put some in the meat just for funsies, because I've got this nice black garlic powder I brought back from France that I need to use. And yeah, so Kenji actually seems to have a problem with this as a concept of adding things in. Now, I skipped over adding in any breadcrumbs, or I have added eggs before. I will add onions into these. He won't. He doesn't want any of that mixed in after your meat is ground. Now, if you're grinding it in with the meat, that seems to be a better option in Kenji's mind. But if you're adding it in later, you want to mix it as lightly as possible and then put it away. So no more than a minute of mixing tops, because that the more you mix it, the more you're going to warm the meat. That leads to your fat leaking out, but also it changes those proteins and can make things tough. So
I see. Did you said you're adding onions? Did you cook them first?
today I am not adding onion. I did add an umami seasoning blend that I believe has onion powder in it. So today I'm going with a little bit more of a, like, what's that fast style thing that we did that you were like, this is, guacamole. So it's kind of like that guacamole where we use the powdery stuff. So that's what I'm using today. But usually I will add raw meat or raw onions to my meat. That's my preference.
Like minced.
Yeah. But I've definitely made caramelized onions and added them to meat. Haven't tried Marcella's soaking trick and adding those to the meat, but that would be kind of an interesting, different thing to try.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be it on that front.
So would Kenji be a little bit more of a beef purist or a meat purist here, in his ideal burger has more of all of that stuff on the topping versus in the patty?
Yeah, he also compares it to making a meatloaf sandwich, which I can understand. If you've added, especially when you start adding breadcrumbs, in my mind, that's when you're really adding.
It's different.
It's different. Yeah, that's definitely on the edge of a meatloaf more than a burger. So I can get, it's a classification issue for him. If you're calling it a meatloaf burger, sure, that's fine, I guess. But he's pretty much if you're calling it a burger, he wants it to be pure beef.
Yeah. Yeah. No breadcrumb burgers on his grill.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so that's part 3. Don't overwork it, and you can do whatever the fuck you want with it, but according to Kenji, his scenario for this perfect burger is beef only in the patty.
Yeah. Any chance you know what time we started? Because I forgot to set a timer.
I want to say it was 12:40. Okay.
So I'll set a timer for 10 minutes to finish this out. Yeah. Does that sound good? We're going to try and move along. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4, also controversial. I'm hoping after number 4, we're going to get to some fast ones, because I've had a lot more to say about the first 3 than I was expecting to.
Too salt or not too salt? Number 4.
He has a beautiful illustration here in the article about we've got the unsalted patty on the top, has a much looser profile, doesn't look as cooked in the middle. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it's definitely a nicer, to me, looks nicer. Maybe other people would disagree. Whereas on the bottom, this is where you get that meatloaf-like texture. This looks like a meatloaf to me, where it's more it's kind of homogeneous. You can't tell it's really ground beef. It's more of a paste. So sort of interesting that salting your meat before you cook it can break down the proteins in that way, that make it look like it's much more finely ground as versus a fully ground patty. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Do I know what I'm saying? Does any of this make sense?
I was with you for a little bit, but then I got a little confused when I think you started describing the graphics instead of necessarily
it looks like this. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So hot tip is add your salt on the outside of your burger only, because that'll help preserve your structure as far as being more of a hamburger-esque structure. How's that? Is that a good sum up?
That makes perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. And it makes sense but I was thinking it's really hard for me to imagine not salting anything before it's formed. But if it's just beef, then it's fine to salt it on the top versus all through, And I guess you'd also want to be cognizant of if you did add anything, even at the grounding it yourself level, you wouldn't want to salt any of those things, whether they're cooked or raw.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Yes, exactly. Okay. You covered it quite well.
Okay.
I just was noting that Kenji specifically says that the salt will dissolve proteins, and so it can really mess with things like.
Yeah. Well, so my recipe does have salt in the patty mixture.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Good. Thank you. I was like, there was another point I was going to make, but I couldn't remember what it was. But for yours, so it doesn't matter for yours. You've got no protein.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
We're talking about purely protein-based burgers here, where if you're going to have a much more protein structure, you don't want to salt because it changes the shape of the protein and draws the moisture out from in the interior, which is going to just make things more dry in there.
So did you salt? You didn't salt your interior?
Well, okay, I did a little bit because
being said, you did it.
I put Worcestershire sauce in it, which is got some salty sodium component.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem with the herby burgers. I think partially because I put so much fat into them. They just don't behave like other burgers anyway. So we'll see what my thoughts are after this. I mean, guess I have to go buy more beef and do it with just the pure beef and see what I really prefer.
Yeah, keep practicing.
Okay, next up, form matters.
So form matters. Yeah, if you really care about consistency, form does matter. And if you the only thing I really want to point out here is if you like a really big burger, if you press sort of a dimple into the center, that'll help you from getting what Kenji cleverly calls meatball burgers, which is when they sinus the protein seize up to the point where they turn into a ball. And while they're great sometimes, it is much harder to eat than a nice flat patty. So if you're making big guys, make sure you kind of divot out the center a little bit.
Okay, that's good to know.
Now, for saying don't salt the inside of your meat, it does say season liberally. So you do want a good coating of salt on the outside. That helps with the forming of crust if you were looking for a little bit of a crust on the outside. So that's a good thing. I don't think I have much more to say on that. Any comments from you on the seasoning?
Would you, besides salt or pepper, does Kenji just say salt?
It looks like he's doing both.
So besides salt and pepper, would it be worth it to do any other powder seasonings at that point?
Things like garlic and onion powders, they're gonna cause some trouble because they have a sugar content, whereas I don't really know about pepper, but I think not. And salt has no carbohydrates to it. So it's a rock, basically.
Yeah.
It's a rock. So
eat as much as you want. It's just a rock.
It's a rock. Yeah, no, we're not saying that. It does fuck with you if you eat too much. It looks like he's more like salt and peppers.
But just don't hold back kind of how much you're applying.
Right. Yeah.
Because you lose a lot when you cook, especially if you're flipping a lot, I imagine.
And that leads us right into tip 7, or tip 7. Flip your burger as often as you like. Okay. Not a problem.
I thought that would be different too, but I'm glad to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, but we learned this with our special trick of doing the cold pan and flipping constantly.
No splatter method.
And you can do that with burgers. It works with a burger. I've done it.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's as nice as with a whole piece of meat because there is a little bit of a danger of breaking it apart. So you have to be really careful when you're doing that. versus if you are like hitting a hot pan and getting that meat to sear so that
It'll
it's
bind
staying
a little bit on the
more, it'll
outside.
bind a little more on the outside. So there's some issues with it. If you're really careful, you can do it, but it is like you almost have to like use two spatulas and pick it up and
Yeah.
then like put the other one on top, flip it over and put it back in the pan. I think it was where I ended up the last time I did it. So just be aware. You can do
Yeah.
it and it does work, but it's a little precarious, at least until you start seeing some nice searing on the outside.
I think my recipe says high heat.
That would make sense since you're working with starch binding versus protein binding. You want to kind of snap it together real quick.
Sure. Okay, so that was 7. What's 8?
Use a thermometer. It's a good tip. Make sure your meat is cooked, especially questionable ground meat that you might be working with. You want to make sure that you hit your at least medium temperature because that's going to prevent you from getting most foodborne illness. And yeah, if people who say they can tell how done a burger is by touching it are people who either cook burgers constantly all day for their job or are really obsessed with meat. But for best consistency, and if you're really picky about your temperature, whereas I love like I could eat rare burger all the time. I love it. I love my burger rare. I do eat what's the stuff? The raw meat, chopped raw meat.
Or
Thank you,
carpaccio.
tartar. I love tartar, and I love carpaccio. That is like my favorite. If you care about what your temperature of your meat is, make sure you're using a thermometer to get there.
What is it supposed to be? What's like that medium?
Medium, totally pink, just starting to dry out. That's 140 degrees.
Okay.
120 is rare, or anything lower than that is also rare. 130 is medium rare, pink and warm. 150 goes to medium well. 160 is well done. No, that's if you like your meat kind of dry.
Okay, judging. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, I made a face, so it's like, ugh. Kind of grosses me
use
out.
a thermometer if you have a preference about how it's cooked.
Yeah.
And then, okay, 2 more here.
2 more. Choose your bun wisely. I don't know. What is there to say? It's bread. Make sure you've got enough bread.
What are you
or
gonna
not
use?
Too much bread. So I walked into Whole Foods this morning, and we need to get a sponsorship deal from Amazon for some reason because like I talk about Whole Foods so much. And I was thinking, ooh, I want a pretzel bun. I walk in the door, and right on the first rack inside the door are pretzel buns with sesame seeds on them. And I was like, thank you, universe, for making this so easy.
Yep. Guess what I have?
What do you have? Pretzel bun?
Pretzel buns.
Yeah, pretzel bun!
All right, so we chose wisely for us.
Yes, indeed.
And what's the last one?
Don't let anyone tell you what to put on it. So basically, have fun with your toppings, and if somebody's yucking your yum, tell them to get bent. So
it's your fucking burger.
You can eat whatever you want on it.
That's right. Well, I guess should we read our respective ingredients?
Sure. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Since mine is very vague and short. I've got ground beef. Did I actually write this down? I did. Okay. Said probably some onions. Actually, I went sans onions, so I'll take that off my ingredient list today. Just beef.
Probably not onions.
Probably not onions. Yeah. So we got beef. Oh, I did put in some black garlic. I did dried oregano and thyme that I actually soaked in the Worcestershire sauce. So just to moisten them. So I was going to use fresh, but I couldn't find any good amount of thyme in my yard, and I didn't cut it at Sarah's like I was planning on. So Sarah might have contributed bigly to this today, I think. And then fresh parsley that I chopped up and butter. And then I also, because you had miso in your burgers, I added some miso into mine to bump up that umami flavor. And I put some, I think it's a Whole Foods brand umami powder in there as part of the seasoning.
Yum. Do it up. Season liberally.
I am a liberal seasoner.
That's right. If not now, then when?
All right, now tell us about your veggie burger.
Okay, so this one has 1 medium to large beetroot. I'm gonna do a quick bone to pick about the quantity suggestions on some of these ingredients on mine because I get it, a medium to large beetroot. For sure, but could you also say or 1 cup? That's helpful to me. But I did end up getting peeled and steamed beets, so it was 1 cup, so that's why that was in my mind. But also, give me a little bit more definition. I just want always more specificity. But
You want Franny.
I want Franny for everything. Yeah. Everybody should have been taught how to write recipes the way Franny says.
Yeah. Oh my God,
But
not
then,
Franny, Fanny Farmer.
Fanny Farmer. I always do that in my head too, and then I'm like, Franny Farmer, Fanny Farmer, Fanny Famer.
Fanny,
Yeah.
Fanny.
Yeah.
Fanny, it's Fanny, not Franny.
Fanny. Yeah, Fanny Farmer. Okay. So after the beets, you want 3 white mushrooms sliced, 2 minced cloves of garlic, 1/2 cup of rolled oats, 1/2 cup of flour, a pinch of rosemary chopped, again, a pinch. I did oregano because I hate fresh rosemary chopped in things. And then 1 medium shallot, again, medium to whom? What does that mean? Roughly minced also. And then a heaping teaspoon of light brown miso. I have red. And then half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of white pepper, which I don't have, so I just omitted. And then I will need vegetable oil for frying. Gretchen made her typical
Yuck.
white pepper face when I said that.
It smells like poo. It just smells like poo to me. I'm sorry. It smells like poo.
It. So we did say that we've already done a few things, including I cooked down my mushrooms with my shallots and garlic, and then once that cooled, added it to my chopped beets and all of the rest of the ingredients and did a little food process. Gretchen and I discussed how much liquid quantity I should add because of the beets being pre-steamed. So I held back that liquid from the beets and did not put it into the mixture. But otherwise, that's got all that. Once I mixed that up in the food processor, just shaped it, and that is in the refrigerator. What did you do on your side to get to this point?
So I chopped up all my herbs, my fresh herbs. So in this case, just parsley, and then added the parsley along with my other seasonings and butter and Worcestershire sauce to my meat. Kneaded it lightly, shaped it into patties. They are of varying sizes, so my smaller ones don't have divots, but the bigger ones do. And put that in the fridge.
Okay. And how long do you think it took for you to get to this point?
Oh, longer than it should have is my first instinct.
Always.
Probably if I was a little more focused and I needed to focus a little more earlier, probably I could have gotten to this point in 20 minutes tops.
Yeah, same. I think I probably ended up doing 30, but I was kind of dilly-dallying with my mushrooms and chopping my beets and stuff, so probably 20 so far. So we should see how long it takes now. My recipe said for the burgers to refrigerate for an hour, so we're gonna aim for that. So we might take a little break and then time travel a bit with you when we are ready to cook the burgers.
How about if we are going to time travel because we are waiting on the burgers?
We have to. We're not going to make you sit here for an hour.
You could listen to us wax about burgers for an hour, but I'm pretty sure even I would be bored by the end. And
because we were even going to talk a little bit about toppings and fat ratios, but I think we've got plenty discussed there with our Kenji tips.
Yeah. I think we covered it. We could touch on fat a little bit because I'm adding butter to mine. So
right.
Even I'm good on the fat, but I'm also like, additional, more fat, please. Thank you.
Why not?
Why the fuck not?
And your fat's butter in this case.
Yes. For this time, it's butter.
Yum.
I thought of about 6 different things you can mix in there because you could also just like put in some bacon fat if you're grinding it
Mm,
yourself, or like
yeah.
play with your fats, people.
What
There's all
about
kinds.
oils? Maybe not because of the high
Maybe.
heat, or it would depend.
Yeah, it would depend on how high heat it could tolerate. I would be intrigued to do something with like a little sesame oil in it
I was
at
just
some
thinking
point.
sesame. Yeah.
And
Or like
you
a
would,
peanut
yeah,
with like a
that Thai
peanut butter
style.
sauce kind of
Hmm.
thing. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, we could do
Well,
that.
yeah, we can as always we are not even we haven't even cooked these and are already like ready to do a
Do another
review of
one.
yeah.
Oh, why didn't we think of this?
No. Oh, it's gonna be exciting. But we'll check in on toppings when we see you again in the future.
Yes, indeed. See you in the future.
Future, the future. We're back.
In the future.
It's the
Back.
future. It's noisy. We've got hot pans, sizzling butter on my side. We
Oh
have
yeah.
pulled our buns out of we've pulled our patties out of the oven. Oh my God.
Fridge.
We've pulled our patties out of the fridge. We've toasted our buns and we are getting ready to cook our patties.
Oh yeah. We got my pan good and hot over here.
Okay.
I'm
Let's
hungry,
go.
so I'm go with one of these big guys with a big dent in the
All
center.
right. Yep.
Hear that sizzle?
Flip often.
Yeah, give it another second there. Okay. Flip 1, success.
Okay. One flip in the books.
Ah, I forgot the salt. Shoot.
Ah, shiitake.
Salt on this side.
My patties are holding together.
Oh, good. I
Yeah.
thought it looked like you had really hit the perfect texture.
I'm excited about this patty option. I wish it had some protein in it. Maybe I'll find a way to add some beans at some point, but I really like it so far. We'll see how it tastes.
Flip number 2 on the book.
Okay, going
And
for
we're
flip 2
salted.
also. What world level is all this?
I don't know, with all this flipping nonsense, this might be a world level too.
Yeah. I don't think I said where my veggie burger recipe is from, and it's from Shea Jorge, I'm guessing. And it's vegan beetroot burgers. And it did also say to take them out of the refrigerator 10 minutes before I started heating them on the pan. Flipped again.
Me too.
I guess for me, I'm only cooking the oats and the flour?
Yeah. Flip number 4.
Same.
Might give Bite a poke with the thermometer, see where I'm at temperature wise. Well, I'm over 120, it seems like.
Okay.
So I'll flip one more time. See where I am on this side. I'm starting to see some real crisping going on over here. So
Okay, that's good.
I'm pulling it.
You're pulling it. Okay, I just pulled mine.
All right.
Alrighty.
So I put a little cheese on mine. I got a slice of tomato going here.
Okay.
I bought some fancy pickles that I'm going to throw on.
Yum.
Where are you, fancy pickles?
I'm doing some aged white cheddar. I think I'll probably do some jalapeno and some ketchup.
Oh, all right. Yeah, ketchup.
Yeah.
Here we go. Try the pickles. They're good.
Delicious. Did you make your black garlic mayo?
I did.
Okay. Yum.
I put it on the bun, and I put a little bit on top of the burger.
Okay.
I got some lettuce here to put on mine.
Okay. Pop on my jalapenos. Okay. I'll be ready when you are.
Okay, 1 second. All right. Ready?
Let's do it. Oh, could you turn your fan off?
Yes. I was having the same thought. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's taste these puppies.
Okay, here we go. First taste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You like it? Hmm?
I like it a lot.
I think I need
It's
to add. Go ahead.
it's a teeny bit gummy.
Mm.
Like it's almost overbound, but it's really good.
Yeah, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe back off a little on the oats maybe next time.
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
Do you think I want to put like mustard on this? I didn't put any mustard on it. I think it needs a little mustard.
Yeah, that would be good. Dijon or yellow?
Well, probably Dijon because I'm fancy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can conclusively say good burgers.
So we're not even talking.
Mhm.
But I do like the flavor. I like the beet. It adds a little sweetness. I think maybe I would cut back a little bit on the oat and the flour. And maybe that's because I had the steamed beets,
Maybe.
you know. But I love the oregano instead of the rosemary. I think that's delicious. And like I said, I think it's a little bit gummy, but I'd almost rather have it be a little gummy than falling apart.
Yeah.
Veggie burger. So, but really tasty. I really like it. I think I'm with you. I'd want maybe a little bit of mustard too. There's a lot of ideas I have right now of what I would want on this. So
Right.
it's really good.
Yeah, I might go throw a few on after we're finished here,
Yeah.
but I don't think we need to listen to or have anyone else listen to us chew on stuff for the rest of this time. So,
No,
gotta say,
but
burger success.
burger success, Pim's Cup success, and yeah, I think we need to just go eat now.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Okay.
We have an Instagram. We have a Patreon.
Yes.
Email us at thehighgluttony@gmail.com.
Use our discount code at Bizzy. That's Bizzy CBD, BIZZY, and our discount is all caps, HG Bizzy. Get 15% off all of their awesome products. And yeah, tell everyone you know about us until they are just so sick of it. They don't want to hear about it anymore, but this is all you think about, I know. So just keep telling everybody how much you think about it.
All day, all the time, everywhere.
All day, all the time. All right, off we go.
Off we go. 2 burgers. That's enough. Bye.